Hello folks, I know what you're thinking, 'cause right now I'm thinking the same thing, and that is shake hands with danger. Now I would quite happily put the shake hands with danger song on here now, but fortunately I suspect old PooTube would have a bit of a conniption. But welcome to our, I believe, 1969 JCB 3C Mark II, or as it will be eventually, the JCB E. So, first of all, what is it? Second of all, why do we have it? Well, it is, I guess, what is properly called a backhoe excavator. And it's got itself this big massive bucket on the front, which still has all of its teeth. It's got some tip-top tires on here with no cracks or bulges on them, as you can see. Likewise on the back. These ones, I believe, were made in Czechoslovakia, so that means they're very recent. Slight little bit of rust, courtesy of our channel sponsor. I must say the old sponsor has been working overtime. We've got a back actor on it here. It's an absolute beast of a thing. It's fitted with a kind of a trenching bucket, which also has all of its teeth and doesn't have any holes in it. We've no hydraulic leaks externally. This ram here does have an internal leak, so if you leave the boom out over about 10 minutes or so, it'll basically slowly sit down. So at some point I'm going to have to get that ram out and get the seals done in it. Everything works on it with the exception of the electrical system. The only functional switch in here is the starting switch, and the oil pressure gauge works and gives me 50 pounds of oil pressure on this little beastie, which to the best of my knowledge is based on a Newfield tractor, which is what this particular frame is that they used. And I've also recently found out that they used the frame as the hydraulic tank, so that's interesting. Hadn't seen that before. So as you'll see, I have a battery charger on here because I only just discovered today that not only is the electrical system non-functional, but the trusty old Lucas C40 dynamo in here isn't actually connected to anything anymore. So the battery basically cranks the engine up, but we have nothing else going on electrically, so there's nothing to charge the starting battery. So that's great. What else have we got? I've been finding that needs a lot of grease, and I've been pumping grease into this thing for the last week now, so hopefully that'll start to bring things back to life. And I got a service kit for this engine, so filters and so on. Got to figure out what grades of fluids that it's going to want, but I do have the operator manual, so that's good. Got a hydraulic pump in here that's driven from the front of the crankshaft, courtesy of that drive shaft there. and that's about it. The cab is of course rusty, but compared to some I've seen on various YouTube videos and so on, is a lot better than could be expected, particularly given the vintage of the machine. So it was originally a UK machine, so I should be able to get the registration documents for it. This part of the cab here is quite bad, so ultimately the cab's going to have to come off and be kind of cleaned up and repaired. So yeah, more of our channel sponsor here has been helping us out again. We'll get in here now in a minute and I'll show you what's going on in here, and then I'll manage to see if we've got enough juice in that battery to crank her up. Fingers crossed. But yeah, this is my new vehicle project. I should also mention we've got a slight oil leak here. Don't know where that's coming from, maybe the front main seal, so that'll be fun. And the battery, the eagle-eyed viewers probably already spotted, is not the right fit, and the battery positive cable is grinding lovely on this metal edge here, so just waiting to eat through that insulation there and create loads of heat, and then all this old cake grease and oil and everything will go up in a big fire. So we'll be disconnecting that battery, maybe even taking it out, because I suspect battery should be the other way around, with the terminals on this side. So that's great. Oh yeah, the bonnet hinge, top spec, no problems there at all. So yeah, there'll be no restoration work needed on the bonnet whatsoever. But yeah, so the purpose of this machine is kind of twofold. Firstly is to help me out around the property here, and you know, even moving stuff, taking out engines, moving gearboxes and whatever else. Apparently I can get pallet forks to go on the front of this, so that'll be another project. As I said, I don't know if I said or not, but I got a big box of filters and seals, and the hydraulic filter is a beast. Probably hasn't been changed in 100 years. Big seal for that, and lots of other filtery type things in there. So yeah, the JCB is our next well, it's not our next project really, it's just going to be something we're going to use here and hopefully restore it and get it back to some semblance of its former glory. Okay, so you might have noticed there when I tried to move, my clutch was kind of stuck, so I had to switch off, put her in gear and start up just to break it loose. I hadn't driven her in about a week, just I've been having problems with my front wheels in a local tyre centre, but that's another day's work. Anyway, also came with the machine was another bucket for the back actor, which I'd better turn upside down. This is apparently a new one, it's off a new JCB. It doesn't look like it's done much work, but I think that'd be very useful for kind of tackling the mound here and so forth. Wow, a little bit muddy. Anyhow, I'm going to go disconnect that battery because yeah, I might even take it out of there. I have another battery that has the terminals the other way, so it might be a better fit. Yeah, the only real challenge with that will be I might be able to get a battery switch in there that I can have on the side or something here. Anyway, other things you probably noticed there was that our cab door has came off the rails, a bit like me. So I'll be trying to figure that out. And let's see what else here. Got to figure out all this oiling and greasing, but our back window here just kind of swings freely. So I do want to try and tie that down in case it gets caught by wind or something in the short term anyway. Okay, I'll talk just a little bit briefly about wheels. So I've been doing some study on these for the last couple of days, and I'd also like to ask the internet's general opinion. Front wheels on this machine are, I believe, are what's called a split ring, not a split rim, but a split ring. As in, there's a split here on this outer mounting surface for our tyre. And I've been reading around about changing tyres on these that, you know, they can explode off, this can explode off here and cause injury and death and all this if this surface isn't correctly mated and cleaned up and so forth. But the rears, I believe, are normal. I think there's a kind of a bead lip on this here, so I think they're a normal kind of a solid rim. They're not split ring or split rim or anything like that. Probably won't be replacing these tires now for a while yet, just due to the cost element of it. But the fronts, yeah, the fronts. Yes, the fronts. So, I'm not going to go into the whys or the wherefores of it, but long story short is these rims came from my local tyre shop. And as far as I know, these are just an ordinary non-split one. But they've been cut out and machined, from what I can tell, to fit the stud pattern and the mounting on the front of our JCB. And they have a pair of, from again, just a little bit of internet research, some pretty good BKT 1016 tires. I'm still kind of learning what this means. I'm kind of more used to the more modern car kind of a thing. But I'm looking, obviously, you know, that's a safer rim to work with. But I don't know so much about having that machined out boss there, whether that's good, bad or indifferent. So perhaps, yeah, perhaps I can get some opinions on that, please. But other than that, like, they're brand new tires. And yeah, it'd be nice to get them on the front. So yeah, first, I guess, first stage of JCB restoration.